Today, we're going to look at social situations a little differently, not as some scary test of your personality, but as a strategy game, one you can actually get good at. We're diving into something called social mapping, the skill of reading any room with real confidence.
So let's start with a feeling I bet we all know. You walk into a room, could be a party, could be a meeting, and instantly your internal compass just goes haywire. Who do I talk to? What do I even say? It's that moment of social vertigo, and yeah, it can be totally overwhelming.
But what if we've been looking at this whole thing the wrong way? What if it's not a test with a pass or fail grade? Imagine this. It's a game. And like any game, once you learn the rules, you can start playing with confidence. All right, so let's make our first move, which is just understanding the game board. So what in the world is social mapping? Think of a social map as your own mental blueprint of a room's emotional landscape. It's the ability to see all those invisible currents flowing between people, to get a gut feeling for who feels dominant, who's a little anxious, and maybe who's hiding their insecurity behind a big smile. And you can see all of this before a single word is even spoken. Now, here's the biggest mistake I think most of us make. We feel this pressure to just jump in and start talking. But the real power move, the first step to creating your map, is way simpler. It's just to observe, to see what's really going on before you make your move. So if we're observing, what are we actually looking for? Well, this is where we learn the rules of the game. It's all about reading the tiny, silent signals that people are constantly sending out, whether they know it or not. These signals are called micro-reactions, and honestly, the best way to think of them is like the tells in a poker game, They're these small, super fast, and totally unconscious expressions that reveal what someone is really feeling, and they are way more honest than the words they're saying. Here's a perfect example. Somebody says, "Great to see you," but their smile, it doesn't quite reach their eyes, right? It's there, and then it's gone in a flash. That's the micro-reaction. The words say one thing, but that tiny forced smile tells a much, much deeper story. Maybe it's insecurity, maybe it's just disinterest. And you can start to see some really key patterns here. That forced smile we just talked about, often a sign of insecurity. In contrast, you see someone with that steady, unbroken eye contact. That's often broadcasting dominance. And a tightened jaw or fidgeting hands, that's a classic sign of anxiety. These aren't just wild guesses. These are readable patterns. Okay, so once you can see the board and you can read the signals, you can actually start playing the game with some real intention. And that brings us to the ultimate goal, right? How to win. And let's be really, really clear about what winning means here. This is not about manipulating people. The real victory is internal. It's all about replacing that feeling of social anxiety with this quiet, observant confidence that just comes from genuinely understanding the situation. So what's the actual payoff for learning the skill? Well, you get to navigate social situations with so much less anxiety because you're not guessing anymore. That understanding builds real solid confidence, and it helps you form more authentic connections because you're responding to what people are actually feeling, not just what they're saying. You're seeing what's really going on. So, we've laid out the game board. We've decoded the rules. You now have the basic strategy for social mapping. So I guess the only question left is, what's your next move?